All right, Edzard from South Africa. Where in South Africa are you?
Hi, I'm in Pretoria, that's north of Johannesburg.
Okay, I feel like you've been on a call before, yeah?
I have been, yes.
That's why you look a little familiar. All right.
I'm an old fan. I've been following you for years.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so my question is about hubs. What do you do if your niche does not have a hub of its own? I offer massage experiences to women in perimenopause and menopause and struggle to identify what a hub for this group could be. Oh, there's plenty of hubs, tons of hubs. If you're thinking about hubs for like, what's a hub for where women who want to get this kind of massage from a man who looks like me with these stylish glasses? Where do they hang? There's no hub for that. But hubs for women in menopause and perimenopause, there are tons of hubs. So let's just do a little brainstorm on Edzard's behalf. Okay. Edzard. So hubs for women in menopause. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, we got how many people? We got almost 60 of you here. So if all of you do like one and a half, we're basically going to get 100. So this is the goal. Let's get 100 hubs for Edzard in 2 minutes. Okay. So 2 minutes, a hub is where you would find clients. Like where basically the question is, where could Edzard find these types of women? Right? Yoga studios, for sure. I mean, just that one hub, by the way, Edzard, you could just work on that and that's you're set. Churches, women's writing groups, yoga studios, Instagram. Yeah, yoga classes, haircutting salons, the pharmacy, it's true. Seniors Facebook groups, women's circles, sports clubs, women's coaches, healers, podcasts on that topic, martial arts places, health food stores, the OBGYN clinics, book groups, parent advisory committees, women's fitness groups, doctor surgery, gyms, book clubs, cat rescue organizations, um, counseling therapy practices, women's health clinics, naturopaths, libraries, homeopathic wellness events, gynecologists, tennis clubs, osteoporosis, exercise groups, bars where people throw axes. Maybe that's the only one you need. Choir, photo book or scrapbooking, wellness groups, breathwork groups, doctors, spas. There you go. So, Edzard, there's probably more coming, but how did those land for you?
Well, I mean, those are all the kind of things that I've been thinking of as well. So I haven't heard anything there that I would say is new or something that but for example,
Okay, but let's hold on. Let's just pause. I just want to read out your question was you said, what do you do if your niche does not have a hub of its own? So there are, so we've just laid out that there are hubs. So the premise of the question is not quite correct. So I feel like there's a question within that question. The question is not where to find them because we can find them easy. So what's the question underneath that question?
well, it's not a thing of I want to be something for everybody, but I mean, just the amount of hubs that are listed now just shows you how widespread the woman or the niche is. So there's not one hub. There's not, for example, if I was doing sport massage, I could focus on, say, for example, women doing tennis or tennis injuries or something. But that's not the kind of massage that I offer. Mine is a very deeply relaxing um, de-stressing massage. And
Okay. So
women who have these symptoms are everywhere.
yeah. So again, let's try to put a question mark on there. So what's your question around this?
Um, where can I put my emphasis to reach without excluding everybody else? I mean, the market for only book club ladies is just too small for me to be sustainable. So I need to reach the women in the book club, in the tennis club, in the whatever other niche yoga studio that was listed now.
Is your understanding that you can only have one hub?
Well, I would like to focus it, you know, focus the attention more on limited hub rather than hundreds of hubs.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
uh, for
Time,
example,
time. Okay. So what I'm hearing is there's this sort of overwhelm with hubs. You're like, okay, I see it. There's a lot of places I can find these women, but now this is overwhelming. Like, which ones do I pick that are going to be most likely to get me the kind of clients I want? Am I hearing you right?
um, yes, and I mean, for example, as I've understood your previous post, etc., is you mentioned, be invited to the hub, let them do the marketing for you. I understand the concept. Um, however, I can hardly go to a book club and say, okay, one of you ladies, here's my table, jump on the table, let me do a demo or something. Um, it's just,
Okay. So, so I hear there's two questions really. One is how to ascertain what's the best type of hub, number one. So I'm not dealing with hundreds of hubs and where do I start and that overwhelm. But number two is how do I partner with the hubs when I find them? How do, like you're saying with a book club, you bring your massage to, like it doesn't make sense. So how do you do that?
yeah.
Okay, great. So the first thing I would say is here, let me just do a screen share. This I would recommend to most of you. Uh, what the hell is it? This webinar here. So your ideal client, this will walk you through the 5 levels of your ideal client. So just if you're struggling with your niche, this is probably my best. If you just want to like articulate it, it's the best thing I've got. I'm going to be redoing this in a few months, but this is the best I have right now, I would say, in terms of you're going to end up with something. But the reason I bring this up is because when we're talking about hubs, let's imagine there are two sources of hubs. So the first source of hubs is just what's the island A and island B, right? So in this case, we got women, menopause, perimenopause. So we have a general sense of who that is. So there's going to be hubs for where do we find women that age. But there's another set of hubs which are the psychographics. And the psychographics are what are the scenes or communities they're part of, what are the identities they hold, what are their politics, and all of that. And this is where there's a chance to hone in to say, okay, I actually like, Edward, imagine this. I put you in front of a stadium of 60,000 women who are all in perimenopause or menopause, right? They're all in that moment in their life. So at one level, they're all candidates. And then I said, okay, now Ezra, you got 5 questions you can ask them. And at the end of those 5 questions, you're going to have, and they have to be yes or no questions that you're going to ask them. So it could be a question like, um, are your symptoms of menopause or perimenopause really driving you nuts? Like, are your symptoms bad enough you want to do something about it? It's really frustrating for you. And if not, please leave, right? So all of them get up who are no and they leave, and all the yeses fill in the empty seats. And the second question you might ask is, are you open to holistic things? Are you open to holistic approaches and treatments like non-pharmaceutical treatments to menopause? Anyone who is like, no, I don't really buy it, they leave, and everyone else, the yeses move forward. And then you might have another three questions that further home, but those questions might be about the issue, but it also might be, hey, if you're a Christian, I like working with Christian, there can be these types of filters. And the important thing is this: all of you have an ideal client in mind. If you're really honest with yourself, there's certain people who delight you and light you up, and certain people who don't. Certain people with whom you are they're gonna make progress if you work with them, and certain ones who won't. Does that make sense? Like there's people who are just more ideal than others. And it's so important to get honest with ourselves of who's the ideal client for me. Who will light me up? Who is going to make progress? Those are to me the two big criteria. And then once we're clear on that, the reason I go into that whole rant is that often refines the set of hubs because you realize, oh, certain like a book club is sort of, but a yoga studio, that's probably a better hub because we know they're into holistic stuff. We know they're into, somatic stuff already. So the psychographics can start to shape that. Now, the second question, right, what the fuck do you do? How do you approach them? Well, the first thing is you got to figure out what the best hubs are, right? Because we may realize, oh, the book club isn't the thing. But you take that list and you think, okay, I've thought about my ideal client as much as I can, got a pretty good sense. And based on that filter, I've now eliminated a bunch of the hubs and we're left with a dozen or so, And then I would generally pick three, pick the top three that make the most that you're guessing is the truth. You don't know for sure, but you're going to say these three make the most sense to me at this moment. And then you think, okay, what what makes most sense in terms of partnering? Like, could they host a signature workshop? Is that the way? Maybe they could email their list and just say, hey, everybody, you're a part of this women's circle. And we know some of you have been looking for body work. Just met this guy, Ezard. He's fantastic. I got a massage from him. It was one of the most relaxing massages I've ever experienced. And I just can't recommend him highly. So that could be, it could be an email, could be that they have an event that you can just go to and attend and meet people. It could be, it's not an endless list, but we just take the hub category, the type of hub. So let's say yoga studios, and you think, what would I most want from them? Like, what's the thing that if they were willing and able, that they could do that would make the biggest difference for me in my business? And then you just approach them and you say, look, I've got this thing. I don't know if it's a fit. Now, in terms of, let's say, a yoga studio, I don't think it's that you go do a demo massage thing. I don't think that's it. I think it's that you might do a presentation on um, 5 holistic natural approaches to menopause or perimenopause, and the upsides and downsides of all of them. And you say, look, if you're a woman at this point in your life, there's 5 approaches you can take generally. So it might be like dietary is one of them. Exercise and lifestyle might be one. Herbs might be one. Smoking a lot of weed, I don't know, but one of them is body work. And then you make the case for body work. It's like, look, a lot of women at this age, they just don't think about the body work thing as if it would do anything. But here's what the research shows. So whether you work with me or not, body work can be a very powerful modality for helping address some of these symptoms. How does that all land? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I don't really see myself as a talker, but that would be something to consider. I mean, I don't, as a body worker, I don't have like a signature treatment or a workshop, a signature workshop or something like that. But yeah, maybe a little presentation, I could possibly work on something like that, yes.
Yeah. And it could also be that you write that as an article, and get that article circulated. You could also record a presentation. There's a number of ways to do it, but I would say that notion of educating them, don't not trying to reach them, be like, hey, let me come to your yoga studio and just pitch my services. Instead of that, let me come and educate you about the solutions to this problem. And part of the presentation could be, look, at that age, a lot of women start doing the synthetic hormone stuff. And here's the upsides of it, but here's the downsides that nobody talks about, or, that could be a part of it. And then part of it is you make the case for your approach. Again, it's different than saying, and what's the fifth solution? Work with me. That's not what we're saying. We're saying the fifth solution is body work. And here's why it works. And if you're interested, here's what I've got. And it could be like, since you're here, I'd love to offer you all a free 30-minute massage with me. And when they call to book it, you offer them an upgrade, a paid upgrade to an hour and a half. And then from that, boom, boom, boom. So that's what I got for you today. Thanks for calling in,
Okay.
Ed.
Thank you.